human these days is great. I thought you were saying everyone's doing great, which I was like,
I mean,
yeah,
everyone's doing
honestly.
great is also a mantra that, like I have my friends where we text each other, hey, you're doing great. Like everybody's doing great is just an important thing to,
Yeah.
to know, to have in mind. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't do romance tropes this
Hmm.
monthly for our cauldrons, but Praise Kink could have been an August
Listen,
option.
evergreen title possibility is Praise King.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to Call Your Coven Practical Support Advice. Who knows the title? I don't even know the title of our show anymore.
Practical advice.
Okay, practical advice for nonsensical times. The times have taken me down. I'm Bee, my pronouns are she, they, and I'm your resident numerologist.
I'm Gina. My pronouns are she, her, and I am your resident astrologer.
And I'm Meg. My pronouns are they, she, right? Yeah. And I'm the resident tarot reader. The times have come for us all,
We
apparently.
are recording this during Mercury retrograde, and that feels important to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one's been a doozy. Why
Yeah.
has this one been so bad, Gina?
Because it's in Cancer, so everything, it's like words getting stuck in the body. It's like, the good news is that by the time this podcast comes out, Mercury retrograde will be over, Mercury will be direct, and hopefully we will be on the other side of this, but we do beg our listeners' patience in advance for any misspeaking that we do here
Yeah.
in the final throes of
Coming to you live from the trenches of Mercury retrograde.
really.
Truly, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I reread July
Mm.
before writing August and kind of tuning into August, and it felt very apropos for what I'm experiencing now.
Mm.
And also, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out of this. And I don't know that we fully are going to get out of it, which is, I guess, my disclaimer since I don't really have anything to announce. I'll just announce that I wrote a little bit more of the same for this month. But
Sometimes it's like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
just keep swimming. I'm always
Yeah.
at commondenominators.beehive.com.
Hmm. And Meg and I have our fourth cohort of the Grove opening up for registration on August 1st. We are continuing with the weather theme this year. The Grove is a spiritual community of like-hearted artists and creatives who meet live a few times a month. We just really carry each other through the seasons of life. You know, we've had a lot of folks experience major losses, major griefs. There have been babies born during the Grove who now join us on every Zoom call. It's just an incredibly special group of people who create life together, and it's gorgeous. Do life together, whatever the fuck. Meg, what would you add about the Grove? Also, registration opens August 1st. We start September 1st. And then we go until February. It's the fall winter seasonal cohort. So,
Yeah, I think the Grove is every time we get off one of the calls, Jane and I both just like hug each other and are like, this is like one of the most special things that we do. Like, it truly is just a group of really magical, talented, generous, incredibly warm people coming together and supporting each other through creative burnout, through creative projects, through creative process. Yeah, lots of people have either joined not knowing what was going to happen or joined knowing that they were in the midst of a big transformation.
yeah.
But we have a lot of people that just continue to come back time after time because it's such an anchor for the month.
Yeah.
So no matter what kind of creativity, you choose or use, whether you're a professional or an amateur or you're just curious, it's just a really special, sacred place. And I love that we do it. So you are cordially invited to join us for the Grove number 4.
So that is a really good spacious spot
Mhm.
for community. And then for the business-minded folks who are buckling down, getting ready to query agents for their books, Book Deal Breakthrough. The waitlist is up. The link is in show notes. I am going to be running another 10-week cohort of Book Deal Breakthrough, which marries magical ritual and professionalization. Honestly, lots of publishing etiquette, that's something I kind of didn't think about the first time I ran it, and folks on who were in that first cohort they were like, you brought in so many authors to talk to us, and agents and editors and publicists, and we learned so much just about like how to conduct ourselves in traditional publishing. And I feel like that can sound very like stiff, but I don't know, I feel like learning how to do relationship with publishing and the expectations and like what is reasonable and what is normal, like that's a huge thing that I think I take for granted having been publishing for so long at this point. But Book Deal Breakthrough is going to start soon for the second cohort. It's going to run this fall, and you can sign up for the wait list also in show notes. And that is all of the promotion I have. I have a lot of it right now. So
A lot going on. Yeah, the Grove is my main thing. And the other big thing that I'm doing right now is I am kind of starting this new approach to my membership program that I call the Hermitage, where I am going to be dropping a new lecture every month for a little bit. And so right now I am in the midst of my first new one, which is called Transitive Tarot. And it's essentially an exploration of your tarot beliefs and philosophies. If you are someone that reads cards but doesn't always know what to do with your readings or doesn't quite understand the context of how your readings fit into the rest of your life, this is a really great opportunity to explore your tarot beliefs in a really safe and non-judgmental space. I'm basically talking through my own beliefs and then giving you a bunch of space to consider what you think. And it's totally fine if you disagree with me. I'm not interested in making converts. It's really just about showing you what it can look like through my own, explorations of what tarot means to you and how it works for you. So the first lecture is already live in the Hermitage, and I'm going to be dropping a few more over the coming months. And then I'm going to switch over to doing Devils and Digits Part 2, Two Devils, Two Digits. I don't know. I have to come up with some ridiculous name for it. But it's essentially
yeah.
going to be the sequel to my flagship tarot numerology class. So it's an exciting time to be in the Hermitage, and I would love to have you join us. So, yeah. And then the Grove is our wonderful community space. So, lots of exciting things happening. Yeah.
I'm a fan of Two Devils, Two
Yeah,
Digits.
I think it's really solid.
Yeah.
People will definitely know what I'm selling and what I'm talking about when I say two devils, two digits.
I think it will attract the right crowd, though, which
It's
might be more important.
they'll be like, oh, this person's off their rocker. I definitely want to work with them.
Well, it's been so exciting to see the Grove, and I know Devils and Digits was pre-Coven, but like see the
Yeah.
Grove and Book Deal Breakthrough, and I know you're going to do a second round of River Styx in the future, and
Yeah,
just
in the fall.
seeing things that didn't exist when we started, and now you're on the fourth round and the second round, and it's just so awesome to be around for the life cycle.
Truly. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking about that you both have like shifted your newsletters to different places and done some major rebranding. And there's just been some really cool, really big projects that have kind of happened while we've been doing this. Because yeah, are we at 2 years? Was it 2 years in September?
It'll
Two
be two
years.
years after, yeah. We have this one and our convo, and then
Yeah.
we're into season three.
Damn.
Whoa.
Wild.
Love
So
that for
wild.
us.
Okay, but we should talk about August
We
before
should
we
talk about
talk about
August.
season three. But I actually think this is kind of the best place to start because August is the eighth month of the year. So in a 10-1 year, we're looking at an 18-9 overall month. 1 plus 8 equals 9. And the first thing that came through about August was this is a month to bring things to a joyful close. And I love that idea when just thinking about our own show and how we are bringing one season to a joyful close and then seeing what lies ahead. So not everything has to be an ending in that we are finished with this and never going to touch it again. It could be this part of the project is over, or this aspect of some life experience has ended, or our this habit has shifted. I know joyful close might seem oxymoronic, but it does feel really in alignment with all that the wheel year has already brought to us, which has been a lot of polarities, different swings of the pendulum, and a lot of asking us to hold multiple things at once, to know that the world outside us, literally, I mean, the week before this, literally huge swaths of the continent could not breathe. And yet, how do we find presence and empowerment and encouragement inside our houses, I guess. You know, how inside are we going to get? But I really was thinking about how often do we find ourselves in a place where we know something is over, but we hold on to it because we are scared to let it go, or we think we won't get another opportunity, so we have to hold really tightly to this one. Or maybe what we're in feels really safe and comfortable, and so we don't want to leave it for new. And what happens? What happens when we find ourselves in this place? So, A, we could either drag it out until it explodes in a fiery ball of hot mess. We could wait until someone or something else decides for us and kind of takes our opportunity to make that decision away. Or we can suffer greatly until we finally rip the bandage off and then realize that we should have done it a hell of a lot sooner. You know, that regret that, oh man, I feel such relief if I had only done this whenever. So last month in July, we observed and participated in the cosmic drama. And a lot was likely revealed to us about ourselves, about others. And if you haven't taken the time to reflect on how that concept, if that concept was speaking to you last month, and you haven't really taken time to see how it showed up in your July, in your life, do a little journaling on that in August, anytime, but definitely in the beginning of the month. 8 rules excavations and 9 rules wisdom practice and kind of like long form writing. So this could be quite a generative month should you choose to engage with last month's, you know, the events of last month and yourself and kind of where you are now. And this might be hard, tender work. And I just want to keep saying, as we said up top, everyone's doing great. We can do hard things. So, literally this month, give yourself the pep talk, pat yourself on the back, find ways to fill up your own cup, and then do unto others, right? Give a compliment, encourage or celebrate someone for a job well done, pour into another. There is this very much a vibe of like the wheel is about to spin. We're in the final moments of whatever this monthly journey we've been on together so far since January. September, which is the ninth month, but in a 10-1 year, we get all the way up to 19, which reduces to 1. So we're in this future focused bridge month in September. And I really can't wait to talk to this. Something that a phrase that came through was portal into the past, in a way that I'm really excited to write about. I think September is going to be an interesting month. And then October is going to bring us into our new lives, so to speak. So while we're still in the hottest, wettest, most tender bits of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere, wrap things up with pleasure, get things off your plate, open yourself up to the possibilities of what could be, and look at things that you are avoiding. So offer your brain evidence of truth when it acts up. I think brains are going to get a little wily in August. Just be on the lookout for when yours is trying to lie to you or keep you safe or protect you from things. And really, August feels really juicy. So let's fucking go. Is how I landed it. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, this is my vibe for the month. Just gonna keep dancing through it.
Yeah, I mean, the astrology is really consistent with that because it's eclipse season. So I think joyful closes, joyful endings is a title of the episode word to hang on to, honestly. The heat is not letting up in August, literally or astrologically. Mercury retrograde is over, thank fuck. But eclipse season is on the way. And eclipse season often heralds. It's like very hot periods in that kind of classical element way, because it's sudden beginnings, sudden endings, lots of friction. And I want to emphasize for folks, and especially if it's your first time listening to me do an eclipse season forecast on the podcast here, eclipse season is not necessarily karmic and it's not necessarily destiny. You might hear the nodes and the eclipses talked about as karmic events, but I think it's really important, just on a high level note, to for folks to understand that that interpretation of modern astrology is like straight up stolen out of Vedic astrology, which is a continuous lineage of astrology going back thousands of years in India. A lot of modern astrology is built on the early 20th century Theosophical Society white guys who went to India, had a profound spiritual experience, and then like cherry picked what they brought back. Karma is a foundational belief in Hinduism. Vedic considers the nodes to be planets. They call them Rahu and Ketu, the dragon's head, the dragon's tail. And most Western astrology, rooted in Hellenistic and Neo-Hellenistic tradition, does not consider the nodes to be planets, does not have the idea of karma in any way as any part of our tradition. So I just want to caution folks, whatever you're seeing on the internet, whatever people in your life are saying, like, before you start hearing about the eclipses and get freaked out because it's like, oh no, it's karma coming for me, it's destiny, da 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 da. Like, just consider how much that language is the stuff of whitewashed colonizers. So, uh, that said, let's actually get into the eclipses now. We are in a transitional year in 2026 where the nodes have been moving from the Virgo Pisces axis to Leo and Aquarius. So we once again here for the second eclipse season of the year have a mixed set of eclipses. We have one eclipse in Leo, which is an eclipse cycle that we're starting. And then we have one eclipse in Pisces, which is the final Pisces eclipse from that cycle. So in terms of joyful endings, new beginnings, it's very, very loud. The first one that arrives is August 12th at 1:36 p.m. Eastern. We have a total solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo. This is a new moon eclipse, and the south node is with the moon here. The south node is in Leo. So we definitely are looking at what is changing shape, being released, wrapping up in the Leo sector of our chart, and kind of the way that it's both a joyful ending, but like the start of one, because this is the first eclipse in that cycle. And so it's the clues and keys and little things we're noticing that maybe are starting the denouement, as it were. For B, as a Sagittarius rising, just going to give some examples for here on the pod, like what it can look like for you. And when I say, like, when you want to look at the Leo sector of your chart, your rising sign is going to determine what house it is happening in. So for B, Sagittarius rising, Leo is their ninth house of higher education. So I would expect some things with graduate school to be popping up. For Meg, as a Gemini rising, Leo is their third house of daily devotion and witchcraft, so I would expect their devil book to start to move towards some completion, right? South node is release, letting go, but also like turning in, graduating, the closure in that way. And for me, as an Aquarius rising, Leo is my seventh house of partnership. And while there is like the obvious, Meg is my wife, like there's the obvious relationship stuff, I also put agents and managers here, and I had like just sent a few weeks ago, I sent my agent a copy of my new novel. So I'm expecting some shifts in our relationship on that front because this is a new genre for us to be in. And the beautiful thing about astrology is that we can look back to see what has happened when this transit visited before. That can give us some clues about what topics the present cycle might hold, and also what might give us some insight into ways that we have grown since the last time we were having eclipses in this part of our life. So this is the first South Node Leo, North Node eclipse cycle that we've had in almost 20 years. The last time the nodes were here was like 2008, 2009. So you might think back to what releases, changes, shifts were happening in the Leo house of your chart around then for as August approaches. And then from 2017 to 2019, we had the reversal of it. So right now we're moving into a South Node in Leo period. Most recently, 2017 to 2019, we had North Node in Leo, South Node in Aquarius eclipses. and now they're flipped. This is how the nodes transit. And I do want to offer a quick note on how north node eclipses, they're often associated with hunger or growth manifestation, but they're not inherently good or moral in that capitalist way. And south node eclipses, which are about emptying out, releasing, letting go, again, they're not inherently bad. As I said earlier, it could be you're finishing a book, you're graduating from your program. Like those are joyful endings, as it were. I'm just gonna keep fucking saying that, Bee. Um, but on the surface, you might think like, oh, a South Node eclipse in the marriage house, like I could be having a divorce or a breakup or a death. But like, I think back to 2017, 2019, when I had North Node Leo eclipses in my seventh. So you would think that relationships would be growing or that I would have been moving toward marriage or solidifying, like based on the general white internet astrologer bullshit. But it was actually the North Node eclipses in Leo in those years that heralded me leaving my then partner of nearly 4 years and then going through a series of tremendously destructive relationships that ultimately, like, taught me so much about myself that in 2019, the last year of those North Node in my seventh house eclipses, I literally took an entire year to be intentionally single, celibate, did not date, did not flirt, did not casually hook up. Like I didn't fucking do anything that you would think of as seventh housey. And for me, those North Node eclipses really demanded that I focus my energy on that area of life and how I was conducting myself and get very real on what I wanted and how I was behaving and what my trauma and my patterns were. And like, I feel like the easy astrological interpretation is like, oh, you're going to lock down a relationship, but it can also just be, oh, I'm going to be devoting a lot of energy to this and I'm going to have to get really fucking real about what I want and like how I'm acting in this area of life. That was a lot, but I just feel really, really strongly about how nuanced eclipse season is and that it's rarely as like dramatic as people on the internet say. So all of that said, wrapping up, Virgo season arrives August 22nd. Thank fuck. We're going to need to cool down by the end of August. And then the next eclipse is a partial lunar eclipse and a full moon eclipse. So this is on August 28th at 12:18 a.m. Eastern. So for West Coast folks, it's late at night, August 27th. And this is at 4 degrees of Pisces. This is the last Pisces eclipse we are going to have for quite a while. We've been having these Pisces eclipses since 2024. So again, we are looking to the house of our chart that holds the sign of Pisces. We're considering how we put energy into that part of life, how we've addressed, perhaps done some cleaning up in that part of life, and how we are intentionally moving and thinking differently about that part of life here as this eclipse cycle ends. And since this Pisces eclipse in this series is going to be the last one, it's more of a button. Whereas like the Leo eclipse August 12th is more, and we're opening the can of worms. This Pisces eclipse is very much like a nice button, a nice PS on the journey we've had over the last few years. So big month. That's the astrology.
So, if you're new here or if you just forgot what I do, I like to pull a couple of cards for us generally just for the whole month. So I'm going to pull a theme card as well as a truth and a dare. So our theme is just kind of general vibes, something to pay attention to, just some things to keep in mind and maybe bring to the front of your attention as we move through this month. Our theme for this month is the Three of Pentacles. And I'm saying this here, I put it in our notes, but I'm going to try to start being better now that I've written essays about most of the cards in the tarot and I'm going to be finishing up. I'm going to start trying to be better about actually linking to those essays in our show notes so that if you're curious about getting to know the tarot or you just want to learn more about these cards, you will have a link. That's very easy too. So I will link to my Three of Pentacles essay that I wrote last year, 2 years ago. I don't know. Anyway, when I think Three of Pentacles as a theme, the phrases that came to mind were steady building, stronger together, and pooling resources. I think of the Three of Pentacles as a card of visible progress that's not about obsessing over perfection, but is instead about really delighting in each step. The Three of Pentacles is rooting down and branching out and showing up and building something real. So like Bee was saying, this is literally doing the hard things, right? This is utilizing the skills and the resources we have one day at a time. It's letting other people cheer us on instead of insisting that we have to do things by ourselves. It's also putting our heads together to come up with something exciting and supportive that's based on collaborative ideas. This very podcast is a Three of Pentacles project, right? We each bring different skills and assets and resources and experiences. We let it be messy. It's a podcast. This thing isn't scripted, right? We say things like we fall over our words. It has to get edited, like, but this is a project and a process that includes all of us coming together fresh each month. You get our first draft and we put it out into the world and celebrate it. Like, that's quite literally what this is. So, this month, with the Three of Pentacles as our theme, pay attention to your own progress. Show off what you're making, even if it's not finished yet. Actually, delight in the fact that it's not finished yet. Take pride in your drafts and your experiments and your early efforts. Celebrate the moments when you can see something really starting to take shape. Because when things start to take shape, I think that that's when your work starts to really show you what it is and what it's about. There's a really cool way that we get to know things once they're taking up space and they become more tangible. So this month, delight in that wherever you can. There's a lot of hard things happening, but we get to still keep making things and sharing things and showing them to each other, and I think that fucking rules. So, our truth for the month. This is a little internal thing to think about, a little challenge, a little internal investigation, however you like to think about this. And our truth card for this month is the Knight of Cups. I like to think about knights as adventurers. They are bold figures who are ready for a big journey and who want to prove themselves to others, who are probably going to be a little over the top sometimes, or might be trying to find balance within this element within themselves. And we just had the Three of Pentacles, but I also actually see knights as three cards as well. I consider them the 12th card of the suit, so 1 + 2 = 3, which means that knights kind of share a numerological fingerprint or essence or whatever word you like with our theme card of the month, which I think is cute. Three cards have like kind of a look at me sort of energy going for them, which is why I like knights as three cards. Whereas with the pentacles and our theme, we're thinking about, roots and resources and the building blocks of our own long-term ambitions. With cups, we're thinking about emotions and desires and relationships and our intuition as well as our intuitive insights. So this month, ask yourself, where are you feeling tender or exposed or vulnerable or extra sensitive? Is there something that you feel ready to be brave about? Something that you're ready to share, even if it requires a risk or some extra vulnerability? Is your intuition trustworthy? Or are your own fears or old hurts making it hard for you to see clearly? I know. And where are you ready to let your feelings and your desires call the shots? And then finally, now is my turn to talk about beginnings and endings. Our Dare card for the month, which is an external challenge, a risk to take, or a place to push yourself, I pulled the Moon. And I think that the moon is one of the most complicated archetypes in the deck because it can mean so many different things, right? It can be dreams and fantasies, it can be nightmares, it can be illusions or trickery, it can be wildness or feralness, it can be getting lost, it can be shadows or cycles or emotions, it can be mysteries and strangeness. There's just so many things that we can discover within the moon. And sometimes the more time we spend with the moon, the more complex and layered and confusing it seems to be. But thinking about the moon as a 9 card, it's the 18th card of the major arcana, like Bee was talking about with 18 and 9. So bringing things to a joyful close, it's the only thing I've written down so far, and recognizing and honoring when chapters are ending. I feel like I'm going to say the exact same thing that both Bee and Jeanna have said a little bit, but sometimes it can feel scary to declare something finished, to recognize when a journey is coming to an end or when something's wrapping up or coming to a close. We might feel like what we envisioned at the beginning of the process is not where we are at all. And sometimes that can bring up a lot of big feelings, right? Or we might feel like we can't see the thing we've made clearly yet. And we're still trying to figure out what it is or what we've actually accomplished or how we've actually changed. But endings are just as sacred as beginnings. And they let us explore gratitude and grief and relief and release and just explore all the things that come up when we say goodbye to something, whether we choose to do that or whether it sort of is forced upon us. But anytime we give ourselves the space to honor what we've done and then allow ourselves to intentionally begin to turn our attention to something new, I think it can make this whole process just a little bit less painful. So this month, I dare you to let something go. I dare you to say goodbye, even if you're uncertain about what the next thing is. I dare you to talk to the moon and see what the moon says back. I dare you to honor whatever cycle you're in, even if you aren't sure if you're at the beginning or the ending. And I dare you to worry less about what things are supposed to mean or look like and pay closer attention to what things mean to you.
I kind of forgot low key through this whole thing that I am in a mad dash because I've been thinking so much about my novel, but I am simultaneously in a huge mad dash to finish my astrology book and get
Yeah.
it turned in
Yep.
around the time of the first eclipse. And so that,
Mhm.
I don't know, that moon card just like hit me really fucking hard because
Yeah.
I've been, I don't know, in an anxiety spiral about being worried about disappointing people and, the pressure to put everything I know in this book when it actually is served by sharing so much less. Anyway, reflecting on bringing a book to a close and how challenging that is.
It's really hard. It's really hard to decide that something is finished, and, like
Or
that's a
to
really
decide that it's like enough.
yeah.
Like to be like this is enough and actually it's a kindness to the beginners who are reading this book to not get super technical,
Mhm.
even if the people in my Discord are very angry about that. I don't know. I have so much anxiety and fear about like how people who are already in my audience are going to receive this book because it's so beginner oriented. So, anyway, not to make it about me, but like, Christ.
No, I think everything you're talking about is very 8-9 coded.
Yeah.
Like the fear and anxiety that exists throughout these final numbers. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
incredibly hard to bring something to a close
Mhm.
and to feel good about it and to not get ahead of yourself, to stay like rooted in the present and not some imagined future. And I think that's very moon. I love that the moon card came up,
I
which
know.
is like literally our card of the month for
So
August,
fucking
also
loud.
in eclipse season, like
Yeah.
feels very loud.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remind yourself in these moments that staying rooted in the present is where you have the most power, is where you can get the most done, and everything else is kind of story. And but you have to deal with that in your own way, like we have to cope with that. But I think it's so valid what you're talking about and can be applicable to many life situations, not just finishing a draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you said that too, because it makes me think about the Knight of Cups and like, it's like the way that we frame something or the way that where we decide to start and end the story that we're telling or the story that we think we're in, it can change the whole flavor of the thing, right? And so I think there is so much power, I guess, or agency, or I'm not sure what word I want to use exactly, but I think it can be really exciting to decide, okay, maybe the story starts yesterday, or maybe the story starts with two eclipse cycles ago or something, and like how we decide to frame that and what parts of the story we focus on can shift the way that we feel about it and can also help us see where we're going a little bit more clearly, or decide that we don't care where we're going, right? I think it's really a matter of like what's going to help us. Um,
The Knight of Cups also makes me think of that idea that you choose your attitude.
mhm.
Which on the one hand, I feel like my memory of my association with that is just my mother like telling us that all throughout our childhood. And usually it was an instruction to choose our attitude when really bad things were happening. And we
Yeah.
were kids with not great coping mechanisms. But the flip side is that now I'm grown and I'm therapized. And like it is a choice to stay in a particular mental state. Like sometimes the mind is just mean, and that's when like asking your Three of Pentacles friends and coworkers or whoever for like support is helpful. Um, but I don't know. Knight of Cups feels very like just return to the heart space and you know the reframe that you're saying, Meg. I love it.
Choose your own attitude also makes me think about something else Meg was saying about what do you want
Mm,
and where you're saying heart energy, and it's like what is your heart's desire is very
mhm,
Knight of Cups as well, like what are you questing for,
mhm,
if you are the knight, so to speak. And meaning making and good enough, like what is enough, all of these questions, what does it mean? Ultimately we have to answer those questions for ourselves, and that actually is personal freedom and responsibility over one's life. So I feel like, yes, this is not a blanket psychological statement of like bootstraps your way into a better perspective on things. It is like literally in the worst of circumstances, how do you want to show up? How do you want to conduct yourself? And what do you want to make meaning out of? And what do you want to make and show to others? Like, I really like August.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. As much as I'm dreading the weather, the literal weather,
Yeah.
I am really, the summer has felt very stop and start and very herky jerky, and I am very ready for something to feel a little more steady. And I think we're gonna get that in August, even with eclipse season, honestly, ironically.
No, but it feels like it's gonna shake some things loose or just
Yeah.
like bring some kind of clarity, you know. And I do think about eclipses for the tarot as like the tower, it's big tower energy, it's big
Yeah.
chariot energy. I think about seven. And seven is that like interrogation, analysis, assessment. Like, no, there's definitely a layer underneath. No matter how deep you think you get, we can always go deeper. And just the clarity that that brings when we're willing to do that work, whether it's like a sudden thing that shakes something loose or whether it's really intentional excavation. Like when we have the opportunity to do that work and we actually commit to it and we actually let ourselves experience it and explore it, it can change everything with what we find out. And I think that's really exciting to be able to say, oh, I realized what I want and now I can go after it. Or I realized what I don't want anymore and now I need to make some changes to reorient towards what I do want.
Should we cauldron?
That's cauldron.
Okay. I didn't do romance tropes, but I
Mhm.
did do bibliomancy, which
Nice.
I kind of I was very nine, eight, nine, like how can we receive wisdom from others and put it into action for ourselves? But then Meg, all those three
I
cards
know.
that came up and the nine, I was like, okay, cool. Speaking about stories and mythos and all that stuff. The other day I went to the Iliad bookshop in North Hollywood, which is this amazing used bookstore, the oldest and largest in LA. And I kind of let the spirit move me while I was shopping, but I knew that I wanted to get some psychological, spiritual texts that I wanted to hold in my hands. And so I have four of them jumped out at me for our buckets. And so for finances, the book, if you're looking for a read, I'll also give you a reading rec. The book is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, literally written about making meaning out of the worst places. He was in a concentration camp, a Nazi camp, and this is his gift to everyone and the world of existential psychology. But the quote that came through for numbers was in those minutes, he's talking about a captive wanting to see if he could make an escape. And he said, in those minutes in which he had to make up his mind, and it was always a question of minutes, he suffered the tortures of hell. Should he make the attempt to flee? Should he take the risk? For finances in August, we're still in eight very solidly, and eight is a money number. So keep that money magic going. But there's something here about when you have to make a decision, a financial decision, and you might have to make it in a matter of minutes, right? But it does need some kind of exploration. Weigh the pros and cons, but also don't forget your positionality in the scenario. Like, this is a captive who's wondering if it's worth the risk to try and flee. There's something about maybe the seriousness of this decision that you're going to have to weigh out what's emotional seriousness and what's like physical seriousness. Kind of murky, but feels like money always for me. But feels like finances at eclipse season.
Yeah. I mean, astrologically, Mercury will be direct, which I love. But Mercury also is going to start moving at a fucking clip. And we start the month with Mercury in Cancer, which to me that feels very resonant with because Mercury in Cancer, very murky, very we have to go into the body and into the feelings to figure stuff out. But then Mercury moves into Leo August 9th, and then we'll move into Virgo on August 25th. So we are having a quick, like, I also have this sense that, like, things might be moving really quickly. But also, like the move from Cancer to Leo to Virgo is such a move. Like that particular little slice of the zodiac is so clarifying. It's like, okay, I'm in the body, I'm in my feelings. Leo, it's like, okay, I'm burning off the excess, I'm getting very clear on what I'm about, what I'm doing. And then Mercury in Virgo is just so like, I'm going to take action. This is the plan. These are the numbers. I've crunched that. Like, it's just very precise in a way that I think will actually be very supportive during eclipse season. Cancer risings and Aquarius risings have money eclipses happening, like in the money sectors of their chart. So, also like asterisks on that if you are a Cancer rising, or like me, if you're an Aquarius rising who's been having Pisces eclipses in your second house for 2 years. Very ready for that to be done. But yeah, I honestly think it's going to be pretty clarifying for money and in a really helpful way.
Yeah, I feel like we're all kind of circling around similar ideas here because I pulled the Two of Wands for money.
Mhm.
So I was thinking about like how we invest in our passions and how we make decisions related to our passions. And even if you would not describe yourself as passionate about money, money fuels a lot of the things that matter to us. And when we, are able to be in control of our money or we feel connected to our money, it can help us, live in ways that reflect what we care about. So I was thinking about like Two of Wands as a card of intention and purpose, thinking about which fires we want to build up or invest in and which sparks we're going to let die out just because maybe we can't feed them all right now. We can't afford to feed them all, or we don't have the energy to feed them all. Yeah, I think it's possible that this is a time of some big moves or some big opportunities, and some moments where it feels like you have to make a choice really, really quickly. So I think the Two of Wands is just kind of reminding all of us that we can still move with purpose and planning rather than just letting passion call the shots. But if you take the time now to consider what really matters to you and what you want to invest in, then it can feel more empowering when you're in those quick moments. Like you already know how to trust yourself and you already know what you care about and want to invest in.
Okay, if you haven't listened to our conversation on AI, you need to go
Yeah.
and listen to it because we said AI could never. And the fact
Mhm.
that I used a book, you used astrology, you used a tarot card, and we all were the literal phrase of like, there's going to be a quick decision and it's going to
Yeah.
happen in a matter of minutes, and you're going to have to know where you stand.
Yeah.
AI could never.
Could never.
Could
Never.
never.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Moving right along to home, the book is Present Moment, Wonderful Moment by Thich Nhat Hanh. And this one was new to me, but it's really lovely. It's like everyday verses for mindfulness, and it's like mundane, everyday things. So, this one, the one that I pulled for us today for home, was driving, like when we are driving. And it says, when we are driving, we tend to think of arriving, and we sacrifice the journey for the sake of the arrival. But life is to be found in the present moment, not in the future. Oh my God, I just said that. Yeah, 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 yeah. About okay, great. What came through for home was we've been really dealing with power dynamics throughout the summer and figuring out who makes the rules and how do we abide by them and what happens when they're broken and blah blah blah. And I think that in August we're kind of pumping the brakes on the work a little bit, if only to bring us back into the present moment to say, hey, this actually won't last forever. So I know we really would like to get somewhere that's easier than this. But here we are, right here, right now. And what is there to appreciate about this moment that maybe gets lost in the longing for where you wish you were?
For home, Sag risings, B and company, you all have these Pisces eclipses in your fourth house of home and family and connection and lineage, like coming to a close. So August 28th is the last Pisces eclipse for some time. And so whatever story that y'all have been having in this particular part of life, something is getting wrapped up. Taurus risings, you're on deck because the Leo eclipses are activating your fourth house of home, family, etc. So I would expect, conversations to be opened or reopened about where you live, why you live, cost of living, uh, home expenses, needed renovations or repairs, issues with parents, grandparents, becoming a parent or grandparent, like Taurus risings. These next few years are going to highlight this stuff for you.
The Pisces eclipse season, when did that cycle start?
Late September 2024, like mid September, September 17th.
Okay.
So September 2024 to August 2026, that's the cycle.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Well, I think the cards are definitely in conversation with Bee and numerology because I pulled the Three of Cups.
Mm.
And I think there's something lovely about pumping the brakes on work and like being present in the moment and celebrating what you've got rather than like always looking forward with longing. So I just, invite your pals over, spend some time in celebration and communion or in connection. Three of Cups can be like sleepovers and casual dinner parties and movie nights and D&D games. But I was just thinking about like being honest and really real with your tried and true beloveds. Even if it gets a little emotionally messy, like let them be there for you. And just letting your home be a place of flowing love and care and safety for the people that you care about. That was kind of what was coming forward for me.
Okay, love. We are looking at Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel.
Sure, sure, sure.
Of course, of course. This is a story about Doug who has been having an affair. As Doug becomes clearer, I know, I'm like, let's just hop in with Doug.
It does.
All right, Doug. As Doug becomes clearer about what he can reasonably expect from his marriage, a new set of questions arises. What are his options now that he has chosen to stay? Can he recognize his desires without having to act on them? The answers change every day. I think there's a lot in here for love, especially because nine is, we're looking at the joyful wrap up. So in this context, he was cheating, decided to stay, and now he's looking at how to make this work. There might be something quite literal in some of that experience or all of that experience for you listening. But I also want to point out that, like, we've been talking about clarity, and it's like once you have clarity about what it is that you want and what you're going to do, like what you're committing to when it comes to love, then what new questions arise? And can you be flexible with your answers? Can you allow your answers to shift shape enough to the point where you actually can stick by one answer or have a menu of answers, that you can pick from every day? But it's about making commitments and making something workable. So, whatever it is that you want out of love, start there.
I think that's fascinating because astrologically, Venus moves into Libra on August 6th. And this is a precursor to Venus retrograde, which happens every 18 months. But we have a very big Venus retrograde coming up this fall. Not in August, but now that Venus is into Libra and she's going to be retrograding between Scorpio and Libra. So we are in the early story right now. Venus is still direct, still happy, but we are sort of in the pre-shadow, as it were, of a coming major review, which is very consistent with that. Venus in Libra is really beautiful, TBH. My very practical astrological advice is that if you are planning to propose or have like a surprise getaway or ask someone out, do it now because in August, because again, Venus retrograde, great for the question, great for the relationship work, great for revisiting, revising, etc. Like maybe even breaking up. But like Venus retrograde, please don't propose during Venus retrograde. Please don't make big Venus decisions during Venus retrograde. So like, all of those romantic things you want to do them now. That's my advice. Like,
Incredible. I think the cards agree with you because I pulled the Four of Wands. It's hard to
No,
go with both of
That's
you, honestly.
literally. Yes.
It does kind of feel like proposal energy, like locking things down and making them real. But there's also like, yeah, like a protecting of what matters, like shoring up the commitments, getting really clear about what's in and what's out, right? I think the Four of Wands is a beautiful card for love because it's like passion and stability really finding balance together. So yeah, it made me think about, spending time with those you love really intentionally and like clarifying what you were devoted to or who you were devoted to and what that devotion like looks like, what the flavor of that devotion is. Don't be afraid to shore up the foundation of your relationships and also trust that what you've built or in the process of building has the juice to go the distance if that's what you want. Like being really clear about what you want and then the kinds of relationship structures or commitments or whatever that like really fortifies that.
I think there's
Um,
also a way in which the Four of Wands, as you're saying, Meg, is also so consistent with that joyful endings.
mhm.
Like we can celebrate, like
Joy.
sometimes things do come to an end and sometimes things do run their course and not every relationship is forever, but that doesn't mean it's a failure. It's
Yeah.
actually a tremendous joy to get to celebrate, hey, we did this. And like, I don't know. I think that just is very much like coming through for
Yeah.
that.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think the Four of Wands is the literal card of mating in captivity.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay.
Something
Yeah.
about that container
I
energy and
know.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, I'm excited. If you get engaged this month,
Yeah, please
let
tell
us
us.
Let us know. Elope also. I mean, again, if you
Mhm.
can, sorry, I'm getting like really into my electional brain, but I'm
I
like,
love it.
yes, it's a waning moon, but before eclipse season. So like August 6th to August 11th, which incidentally includes my first wedding anniversary and a number of other notable relationship anniversaries that do not have to do with Meg. That week, I have done so much shit in actually gotten divorced, started other relationships, gotten sort of divorced. Oh, that one partnership I talked about ending, it ended during like that week. So anyway, point is like, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, if you have to propose or do something like elope, August 6th to August 11th, the moon is waning, but Venus is in Libra, and eclipse season hasn't started yet. So that,
Beautiful.
yeah.
I'm going to be even more specific with the date. Do it on 8/8 because not only is it a vibe, but this year, if it's 8/8/1, then we're looking at 17, which is the star, which is really just eight. So we have a eight core day, and eight is connected to Venus. Elope on 8/8. Okay, someone might have to help me with my pronunciation on this next one.
Mm,
Finally, for health, our book is the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. I know Rinpoche, but is it Sogyal?
I don't know.
I don't know. Your
Okay,
guess is as good as mine.
I should have
No.
looked it up. We'll find it out. This very straightforward in terms of what you can expect from the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. But the quote that showed up is the point is not how long you meditate. The point is whether the practice actually brings you to a certain state of mindfulness and presence, where you are a little open and able to connect with your heart essence. This is just the episode in a nutshell.
Truly.
And 5 minutes of wakeful sitting practice is of far greater value than 20 minutes of dozing.
Mhm,
So, for
mhm.
health in August, again, we are returning to states of mindfulness and presence, but we're also being really mindful of how we might be spending more than we need to spend when
Mhm.
we could be getting better results actually by just being more present and more focused in the time that we do spend. So, how can you reclaim life actually for yourself is a little bit of the health. And again, this feels very literal about the body. Like, look at your energy expenditure
Mhm.
and are you actually present when you're engaging? Oh, this makes me feel like Gina, when you always say stuff about Mars transits and you're like, you could have a sharp object. And this is like, do you need to be, just chopping your way through and like you're going to nick a finger when actually you could just be a little bit more mindful and it would take way less effort and
Mhm.
you would still have a fingertip.
Preventative care.
Preventative care. Yes.
Astrologically, we do have eclipse season. So, with health, that can bring sudden changes, particularly if you have, I will say, if you're someone who has these eclipses happening in a health related part of your chart, which I'll get into, but also if you have your sun or moon in Leo or Pisces, like just because the sun and the moon are connected to the physical body, just something to be super aware of. Or Pisces and Leo risings having those eclipses in your first house also, because the first house, the sun and the moon are all like the physical body. However, also, uh in addition, we look at the sixth house for like the sudden onset of physical health particular things. And so Libra risings, you have been having Pisces eclipses in your sixth since 2024. So if any stuff has come up for you, you probably know about it already. I don't anticipate like a new diagnosis hitting unless it's like something you've been working toward getting a diagnosis for. Like, there probably aren't any surprises coming for you, but if you have had stuff going on in that part of life, there just may be a little button on that. But I do want to flag for Pisces risings, in addition to the fact that you're having the Pisces eclipse in your first, you also are starting Leo eclipse cycles in your sixth house of physical wellness. So if you start experiencing any sudden symptoms, especially come mid month, go get it checked out. Again, preventative care. And then for everybody, all of us, no matter your rising sign, let's just make sure we take it easy and rest on August 17th. Mars is square Saturn. Let's not overdo it. Mars square Saturn has very big, like, I got frustrated and I with the slow pace and I tried to rush and something happened. It has big that energy. So I what B said about being present, taking your time, very good medicine.
Yeah, what they said. I pulled the Knight of Wands, so it's like our
Yeah,
fourth three card, and it's our second night. There's just, yeah, there's just a lot of three energy right now. So,
yeah.
thinking about not overdoing it, being careful, being present. I think the Knight of Wands is a really exciting, like sexy, let's go get them kind of energy. There's a lot that can be accomplished in a really potent way, but I do think that the Knight of Wands has a tendency to overextend or to try to do too many things at the same time, and then either get burnt out or bored or just run out of capacity. And that's not what we want when it comes to health. So take things one day at a time, be really present in your body as much as you can. Try not to bite off more than you can chew, whatever that looks like for you, right? If you're not training for marathons, maybe don't sign up for a marathon that's next month or something. I don't book a million appointments on the same day if you know that's going to be too much for you. It's just a matter of like know your capacity and don't push it. And if you're not sure if you're maybe overdoing it, then maybe just take the note and assume that you are and pare back a little bit. Like try to go slow, try to be patient, just try to be nice to yourself, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that applies to things that you really enjoy doing too. And this
totally.
is kind of a shitty thing about life and energy, finite
Yeah.
energy, is
Hmm.
like if you have multiple social days in a row and you really hate to not, you're gonna have FOMO, but
Hmm.
you know that to do all of those fun plans is gonna leave you absolutely obliterated. This is the month to prioritize
Hmm.
you being any state but obliterated.
Yeah, reschedule
um,
things, give
yeah,
yourself recovery days, yeah, whatever it looks like for you, but yeah.
yeah. On the flip side of that, also, if your friend has to take a recovery day and cancel on you,
Hmm.
grace,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
find
Hmm.
another fun plan.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
Excited for August, honestly.
Yeah, I
So
am
much of the
too.
astrology this year has been so intense with all the outers moving and like adjusting to the outers moving that honestly, eclipse season, I'm like, that's fine. Like, eclipse season is fine. I know what eclipse, like, it's the devil you know, right? I'm like,
Mhm.
this is fine. We've done this before. That was exhausting. Like the fact that I'm almost looking forward to eclipse season feels monstrous, but I think also is indicative of how I think ready to recalibrate at some semblance of normal we all are as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will be back in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
We just decided on a chat. I'm
Yeah.
very excited about it.
Mhm.
Meg, do you want to reveal our secret?
Oh yeah, I think we're going to talk about the professionalizing of craft and what it looks like to either run a spiritual business or write a book about a spiritual topic or make a podcast about spiritual topics or whatever. But I think we're going to explore kind of what it looks like to shift into business mode, and we'll probably end up giving you some advice if you're someone that wants to start or expand your business. I think there's a lot that we have to say about boundaries and about what you share versus what you keep private. I think there's a lot of really rich things for us to chat about. So and maybe this month we can also do our Patreon chat that we've been wanting to do, talking about the cauldrons a little bit more in depth. I feel
Yeah,
like that's been on the docket. Maybe we can do that this month too. So
it has.
check Patreon. We're mostly talking about reality TV, but sometimes we talk about other things.
Well, we're like, now that Love Island's over, I guess we'll
I know.
talk
I
about
don't think
this.
we can talk about the ultimatum. I think we'll end up like breaking
You
something.
you
So
two can talk about the ultimatum.
I don't know if
I don't
we
think
can
we can
talk
do
about the
it.
ultimatum. I don't think we have it in us.
I
No.
It's
cannot.
such a brutal season.
I think we both are in agreement that to platform any of these people would be incorrect.
Terrible.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to continue to think we are professional people in the world, tune in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, otherwise, we'll see you on Patreon for the Cauldrons chat. And then we'll celebrate an anniversary. What a joyful
Yeah.
close of season 2 of Call Your Coven.
So cute.
Yeah, cool. See you all soon.